Studio 41 Football Recap Live is brought to you by Studio 41 Home Design Showroom. 13 locations, studio41.com. Vertical, in business since 1985. Chicago's chimney experts for chimney cleanings, masonry work, gas logs. Verticalchimney.com. Your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers, the official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. Hooters. At Hooters, originality isn't just one thing, it's everything. World-famous wings and more, served up by the iconic Hooters girl. Hooters, always original. Dr. Pepper, an American original, just like our Chicago Bears. Grab an ice-cold, refreshing Dr. Pepper today at a McDonald's near you. Special Olympics Illinois. Special Olympics Illinois, so I did. Learn more at SOILL.org. Apt. For the best appliances for football season, shop at Apt. Pleasing people since 1936. Find them at apt.com. Four Seasons, heating, plumbing, air conditioning, and electric. For all the right reasons, Four Seasons. Hey, good evening. Welcome into Studio 41 Football Recap Live with Tom Waddle, Olin Kreutz. I'm David Kaplan. Bears escape Vegas by the skin of their teeth with a blocked field goal victory to dispatch the Raiders and get to 2-2 before they head into their bye week. It's time for our game day breakdown brought to you by Four Seasons, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. Olin, I want to start with you this week because the first half, Ben Johnson's chirping at the sideline reporter. He said that's not how we play. The offensive line play and the run game looked awful. But in the second half, I know you and Tommy have both watched the film. What was your takeaway? First half O-line, second half O-line, and what was the adjustment that was made, if any, that changed things?
It was almost like the Dallas game, right? They got a little more comfortable as they went on. Like they went on that 9-minute drive, right? And they took up almost the whole third quarter. Same thing with the offense. Just a lot of, this week the penalties showed up again, right? And just a lot of mental mistakes, I thought, throughout the game where guys looked uncomfortable at where they were going and who they actually had. And I thought something I noticed on film was that Cole Kmet was trying to do both tight end jobs, right? He was trying to play Colston Loveland's spot and trying to play the wide in-line spot, which is a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work to do both when you probably haven't been getting a lot of reps like that all through camp. So I thought noticing that. And then I just thought Monangai came in and gave him a little bit of spark. Because to be honest with you, Cap, they were missing the Mike linebacker on a zone play to the left all day, and they missed him the whole game. They never blocked the guy. Monangai ran through him in the second half, right? And the touchdown, Swift bounces and outruns him. And now let me tell you something. Swift better not bounce the play on the goal line every week, okay? So this is what's real and what's not when you watch the film. And that's what these Chicago Bears coaches got to do. And you guys know how I felt about if they got to a point where they're like, you know, it's a problem on our offense with all this money in everybody else's pockets. Oh, it's our left tackle who makes $500,000 this year. That stuff is just fascinating to me. And don't get me wrong, Bennett deserves a chance at that spot. I think he played decent over there. But it's not like the O-line overwhelmed anybody would come into half. I thought Ozzie came in and did a decent job, but they gave everybody a lot of help. And Cap, like I'm talking about, I just think, Tom, they got a little more comfortable again in their offense. There was a ton of mistakes, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is not one you look at, and this is not a Monet, as they say. This one's not hanging in the museum. But, you know, Olin, we all know that you go on the road. It's hard to win anywhere, but especially on the road. And you know, you don't apologize for them. There's no pictures on the scorecard, but yeah, I agree with you. I just thought like everything was helter-skelter in the first half. I think guys were missing assignments, and I like Cole. I think Cole's a great teammate. I think Cole's a very good inline wide tight end. I think when you use him appropriately, he's very functional, and he's an asset for you when you ask him to do things that aren't in his repertoire. then I think that I just don't think you're putting him in a position to take advantage of what he does well. I thought he struggled. We had the one drop that was obvious. There was a couple of other opportunities, one other opportunity on the sideline. I thought he could make a play. I don't know what they're asking him to do in blocking, but it looked like he had his hands full and, out over it a number of times. But I thought, and Olin, you'd be better at this than me because, this is your expertise on the offensive line. I thought everything kind of calmed down. I thought Theo, the word I would use, Theo and Ozzie were functional. And it felt like, while it wasn't perfect and they obviously got to clean some things up, kind of that helter-skelter chaos kind of left to a certain degree in the second half. And they scored 2 touchdowns and kicked a field goal. So, they got themselves on track and put themselves in position to win the game.
Mm-hmm. Olin, when you watched Theo Benedette move from right to left and Trapillo in and Braxton Jones was benched and then used on special teams, do you see something that can be, as Tommy called it, functional going forward until Darnell Wright can come back? I'm being told he may have completely torn the UCL in his elbow. I don't know how you play with that. If that's accurate, boy, that is a major, major injury. Can they function with what you've seen on tape after that game?
Yeah, I just, as you guys know, man, all I do is watch the film, right? And in the first half, as Tom's talking about, the pressure wasn't coming from the edges. The inside 3 were getting beat.
Yeah.
Right? And Braxton wasn't doing great, and he had mental mistakes, and he was laid off the snap a lot, which he seems to struggle on the road with silent count for whatever reason. Even this late in his career, he has to work on that. But I don't want to talk about this offense, Cap. And listen, can they be functional? They'll struggle. They'll have to give their tackles a lot of help if Ozzie and Theo are the starters, right? And Theo, all the credit to him from Canada, but he ducks his head, he dives at guys, he gets hit, he got run over a couple times in the second half. He battles his butt off. I'll give him that, right? And Ozzie one time caught Crosby on inside move with his long arms, and he'll use his size, and they'll do okay, Cap. But it's the other guys that have to perform. This is what happens in this town. We start talking about people that I don't want to say they don't matter. But the other guys have to live up to their height. They have to live up to their contract. They have to play better football, right? It's like we did it last year. All the millionaires in the room, and my problem is Eberflus. All the millionaires and the mathematical genius head coach of $13 million, who all of a sudden is a tough guy. He's a math major. The only thing I worry about him, be scared of him, is when we give him math tests. All of a sudden, Braxton is our problem, right? Like come on. I don't know. It's fine. Braxton, they have to give someone else a chance. But make sure we're talking about Dahlman getting beat on the first third down of the game. Make sure we're talking about Jonah Jackson holding and him getting beat over and over again on inside moves. Make sure we're talking about Tooney not moving guys off the ball. Right? Talk about Pokemet dropping passes. Talk about Roma Dunze jumping off sides and going forward on a motion again when they're motion off. Talk about all the penalties. Right? Let's talk about Caleb Williams keeping a zone read and almost fumbling the ball to Max Crosby. Let's talk about those things instead of talk about Theo Benedict the whole bye week.
Yeah, and I would go to the other side of the football and have the same message. As Olin has described, a vast majority of your resources have gone to upgrading the interior of your offensive line and obviously some of your weapons. Same story on the defensive side. Dengbo was given, $32 million guaranteed. Sweat, you gave up a second-round pick and gave him $100 million. You used the second-round pick on Dexter. Grady's hurt now, but you gave him $29 million as well. Listen, they got 3 picks on Sunday with no pressure. That's hard to do. That's really hard to do. They had 0 sacks. They had 1 quarterback hit. And that's an offensive line that had given up 5 sacks the previous week and 12 sacks leading into this game, and couldn't move anybody off the line of scrimmage to create some space for Genty, and they ran the ball for 240. So, this is what I've said all along, guys, is that at some point you have to ask yourself the question, are you getting enough return on your investment? And they've invested a ton at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy as hell that they won a game. But, I mean, for the long-term success of this team, I think we have to look at the line of scrimmage and say, hey, guys, are we evaluating correctly, and are we giving resources to the right people? Because I don't think you're getting enough bang for your buck. And when you step up in class, I think that's when you're really going to be exposed. And I think that happened in week 2 against Detroit, so it's going to happen again if they don't find a way to solve some of their issues at the line of scrimmage.
And Tom, Cap, to Tom's point, like, the tackles are going to be a problem all year, which we knew, especially if Darnell Wright went out, right? I want to talk about what matters on this team. I want to talk about the guys who have to play better, who have to become Pro Bowl players, who have to become blue chip type performers. I think Theo does a nice job, and he may shock me. If Theo becomes a Pro Bowler, I'll buy everybody dinner at Wildfire. We'll all go and take our wives, okay? I'll buy all the drinks. I'll buy all the food. Just trust me. Just do me a favor. Let's not talk about the guys who aren't supposed to be making plays for 2 weeks. The Hallis Hall does a better job than the White House changing the narrative. I tell you that much, man. They do an amazing job up there. They have problems up there. They know they do. I went to the game, Cap. I thought they were going to lose because the Raiders couldn't run the ball, but I watched the film, and who did I tell you to bet on? Genty.
He did. He texted me in Vegas. He said, hey, what's the line on Genty? I said, as soon as it comes out, I'll text you. 65.5. He ran for 138. That was the easiest
you can
money
see
ever.
You know who was the MVP of that game? They ran for 64 yards and 34 yards. They got a holding to a Moser. And Chip Kelly called a boot out of shotgun for the interception. Chip Kelly was the MVP for the Chicago Bears, right? Like they just run, put the guy in I formation and run the ball downhill. But all I'm saying, Cap, is this. Waddle just said it. They won, and listen, man, all the credit, gutsy performance. Loved it, right? All the credit to them. The great win. Find a way to win a game is hard in the NFL. As Tom said, we'll call that half a road game, right? Like, really good. But if we're talking about what do the Chicago Bears need to talk about their bye week, they need to talk about why the inside three can't get yards. They need to talk about why they can't stop the run, right? That's what they need to talk about, and why they can't score on offense until the second half. Because, yes, the offensive line played better, but they just go turn the Dallas game. Same thing happened. They settled into their offense and played better.
Yeah, I mean, real quick. The takeaways, you give them credit for. I mean, you guys have great plays. Byard, that's a guy that I'd follow, because you could tell Kevin made those plays because he spent time in the film room. He knew exactly the tendencies of Geno, and when they ran that deep over, he was standing right where he needed to be, and he knew. So, and then Tyreek's interception. So I give them all the credit in the world. But that defense is masking their deficiencies with their takeaways the last couple of weeks. And at some point, if you don't get those takeaways, it's going to
get ugly. Yeah, I talked.
The number 2 rushing team in the NFL is coming to town next, right? We'll see. We'll see.
We're dead last in run defense. We give up 165 yards per game.
So. Not good. Yeah, I talked to Kevin, and he said, we watched all this film. He said, I like to watch film. It's one of his passions. He said, I love the study, and I just saw it, and I just sat in that area. And he said, I couldn't believe they came the second time with the same thing to me, but they did.
Yeah, did he say what coverage? I'm sure he's not going to say it, but I couldn't even figure out, like, if he was in cover 3, he was really taking a chance. Now, I don't know if that was cover 2 invert, but Dennis Allen's third down defense, man. I mean, that thing is complicated for even older quarterbacks, Dak and Geno.
Yeah, he's going to be our apt player of the game. Promo codes REKAP25 will save you $25 on any purchase, 150 or more. Kevin Byard, not only 2 huge interceptions, but he made the tackle on Ashton Genty on third down before their ill-fated field goal attempt to try and win the football game. And he's our guy. We love him here on our recap channel. We love having him on with you guys. So Kevin Byard is our apt player of the game. I want to go to the drive of the game right before that. It's our Chevy drive of the game. 11 plays, 69 yards, took 5-11, and it ended with the go-ahead touchdown. DeAndre Swift, a 2-yard run to the left corner. Chevy is the official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. What was your guys' takeaway? Tommy, what did you think first of the drive down the field. You know, the ball gets in Caleb's hands. You drafted him number 1 for a reason, and it ends up with the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, Doug, he was calmer in the second half as well. I mean, look, I can pick some good things and some bad things. I thought he artificially sped himself up in the first half, and that's when he finds himself in a little bit of trouble. I mean, listen, Max Crosby was out there disrupting everything early, and I think he was
so good, man.
He was unbelievable. Like there was no chance that they were going to be able to execute that quick screen pass. I mean, Max was lined up 4 yards and directly goes to it. Just plays with great intensity and great feel and great everything in the first half. And I thought, his presence got Caleb a little bit nervous. You could see his feet moving too quick. And I think everything calmed down in the second half. And I think that, I think he stepped into some throws. And I think that, like I said, in the final 30 minutes of that game, they found a way to score 2 touchdowns and a field goal. But yeah, there were moments I thought where Caleb again showed growth. There are moments again where you ask him to, make throws that most quarterbacks can make. And for whatever reason, some of the accuracy issues rear their ugly heads. But I still see growth with him in certain situations, especially in the second half.
Olin, who's the best defensive lineman you ever went up against, whether interior or the best edge you ever saw when you were playing? Who is the best? Max Crosby's motor is amazing. Myles Garrett's a great player. Who's the best you ever faced?
Yeah, there's, when you play 14 years, Cap, I mean, my first start, Reggie White was standing out there, right? And he was standing out there over a big cat. Wow. And, you're talking about Warren Sapp, you're talking about John Randall, Ted Washington, on and on
Pat
and on
Williams.
Names. Pat Williams is really good, man. I mean, I remember in Buffalo, Ted was the starter and Pat was his backup. That was a long day, right? And guess who was the defensive end? Just happened to be Bruce Smith. But it's just, there's so many guys, and Max has his own style, and the game has changed a little bit, and he's really fun to watch and slippery and gets up the field, and also looks like he understands the game a lot, man. But I will echo what Tom says about Caleb and the fact that I was comfortable when Caleb got that ball late. I thought they were going to score, and I thought they were going to score again if they had to after the field goal with how much time they had left and the 2 timeouts, and just looked like with his arm talent and the way he was getting out of that pocket and gaining yards and putting pressure. They blitzed a couple of times, and he made a move and got out of there and gained yards. And he put so much pressure on you with his arm, and he was, as Tom said, he had settled down. And I thought that the amazing was when I first thought about the game, I thought, man, he didn't make any Superman plays, right? He just kind of played in the offense on that last drive. But then I thought that is the Superman play, right? That is him guiding his guys on the field. And credit Ben Johnson for calling 2 runs in a row and staying calm and making him play in the offense. He hits Rome Odunze there on a nice pass, and Rome gains the yards. And it's just kind of like of those 2 right now. There was a play, I think it was 3rd and 5, and they were in bunch, and Rome ran it out. I'm sure Tom remembers that. But Theo Benedict didn't even touch the DM. Right. Yeah. But the ball just came out, hit his back foot. The ball came out that fast, and Rome won that fast. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what's got to happen to raise the level of guys around you, right? Like, you got to understand you don't have a first-round left tackle. You don't have an all-pro left tackle. Now, Theo may play that position better than Braxton. But I just want to make sure that even up at, I want to make sure I'm hearing the right things out of Hallis Hall, right? Like, we got to make plays, man. Like, we got to make better first half. We can't make all those mistakes. Have 4 takeaways and still be losing the game all into the fourth quarter. It's crazy.
I think Olin, you were the one that said at one point the quarterback is most responsible for making sure that he gets rid of the football and takes care of himself. Like, he is the first line of defense with regard to pass protection, knowing when to get the ball out and getting it out on time.
In terms of looking at this game and watching Caleb now through 4 weeks, are you comfortable with him as your quarterback going forward? You need to see more. How would you guys answer that? Yep, he's the guy. I'm comfortable building around him, or not sure yet. How would you say that, Olin or Tommy?
Cap, we don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice.
But it's 4 games, right? I mean, we got a long way to go. We know the Cowboys defense had some injuries when they came in here, and their best cornerback was out, and they were just not playing good football. But and then the Raiders, they gave a good challenge, but besides Max Crosby on that defense, they're just a bunch of kind of guys, I guess. But I think he's playing better, Tom. I think that he is. I think Ben is getting through to him on what's important and what's not. And then, of course, we saw all the cadence problems. We saw a bad snap. We saw all kinds of things again down there in Las Vegas that we don't want to see. But Cap, I got to be honest, man. I mean, some of the throws he makes and the way he's been playing from the pocket. I'll say this. I don't know if he's the guy, but I definitely want to see more.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, Olin. Look, he's not a finished product, but how many guys are in the second year? And again, I'll go back to the fact that this kid's probably never played from a huddle or never played under center, or very little. I mean, the extent of play calling for him is staring to the sideline and looking at a board of Disney characters and maybe a couple of ESPN hosts, and you're supposed to decipher what the hell that's supposed to mean instead of getting in the huddle, having a 17-word play called to you, getting out of the huddle with enough time to get everybody set, to get motions going, identify the mic, and do all that other shit. Like, people will just roll their eyes, but if you haven't done it, it takes a while to learn how to do it. So I think I'm encouraged by what I think the game has. This is why I said the first half, I thought he artificially sped himself up at times. And I think it was a direct result of Max Crosby out there just creating chaos, and it affected him a little bit. And then I think he settled in. I think he's got more control of kind of his emotions and more control of the concepts. And I just think the game's slowing down a little bit for him. Where I want to see him improve, guys, is, again, I can point out 3 or 4 throws. The touchdown pass to Rome is just, it's quarterback artistry, because that ball's gone before Rome turns his back. And the pocket is clean, and it's exactly how the play's drawn up. And as Olin said, even the quick out on third down, like, those are all really, really good plays. And he'll make a throw that your eyes pop out of your head. But then there's throws that he'll miss. And before you take that next step, Cap, that's got to be, those got to be more commonplace. Those got to be more routine. I think, everyone talks about 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. 2 stats are most important to me are completion percentage and sacks. Because that tells me that the quarterback is functioning in a manner in which the offense is asking him to function. If he's still completing 62% of his passes, that's not good enough for me. You got to be completing minimum.
Did they say 70 in training camp?
Yeah, that's lofty. I think, I think Baker and Jared Goff are the only 2 guys last year that were 70 or above. But in this game, you got to be 65 minimum. 67 to me is more likely. But I have seen the sack totals come down, guys. And that to me means, last year he, half or whatever, how many sacks did he have? 68,
68 last year.
How many of those, Olin, were on him? A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that happening as frequently this early. So I think he's made strides there. But I would say the area where he still needs to improve is your gimmies. You got to make your gimmies. If you got your layups, you got to make your layups. There's a couple of times too, guys, where I'll say, instead of throwing a fastball, you got to throw the changeup. The first third down of the game, he's 10 feet away from DeAndre Swift and throws him a heater to his face mask. Just take a little bit off of it a little bit. There was a play with Rome on a deep over where he needs to not throw the fastball, put a little bit of a touch on it. And I mean, those are the things that I think that I would like to see him improve on, but I think he's making progress. So yeah, like Olin said, he's ours. So, get behind him.
Yep. Not going to get another one. That is our Hooters winging it. Caleb Williams numbers. And you saw him 22 of 37, 212, a tutty, a pick in the win at Las Vegas. OriginalHooters.com, one of the 11 Chicagoland locations will be in Downers Grove on October the 7th next week. So we hope you'll come out and see us. All right, let's talk about the game-winning block by Josh Blackwell. He also talked about film study will tell you everything. Olin says that to me all the time. So does Tommy. I put the tape on, and the tape doesn't lie. I simply look at the tape. And he said, I saw something, and he said, Coach Hightower said, look at this. And they did. And Josh Blackwell, the block on the Daniel Carlson field goal to end the game, is our Dr. Pepper play of the game. And it's our special teams play of the game. I was standing right here in our studio, guys, and I got my hands on my head, and I'm like, oh, God, they're going to make a field goal here, and now I've got to see if Caleb can lead us back down. And the next thing I know, swatted away. Olin, what'd you think of that play? Boy, he timed it beautifully.
I think it's a big-time play, and you love the story even more, right, that Scott Daly told him, like, this guy moves the ball just a little bit before he snaps it, right? And it's looks like it's blocked left for the defense, which is on the right side of the field goal unit. And it takes all these guys, right, to come after. I think it's Hippolyte is there, and I think Brisker, and they're pressing, and they're giving him the short edge and threatening the wing and the tight end position. It just takes a team to do that. And I've been as hard as anybody on Richard Hightower, right? I've been as hard. But that game, man, every point mattered. Every block mattered. Remember the 62-yard punt by Torrey Taylor. Right, finally showed up. Down to that, the Bears got the ball on the 49-yard line. That's a field goal. That's 3 points too, Cap. Every point mattered. I thought the special teams came up big. Credit Coach Hightower, credit his unit for their film study, all working together and making plays. And finally, like we've been talking about that Torrey Taylor pick and when's it going to show up? Finally showed up down there, and the ball stopped right there on the 1-yard line. That the quarterback sneak in, and they punted it away.
You know, people always ask, how do you learn how to win? And like the dumbass that I am, I say, you know, you learn how to win by winning. You know what I mean? Like it's really as stupid as that is. You know, like let's go back to last year. Last year, it was the Green Bay Packers who saw something on film from us and how low the ball was kicked. They were the ones that executed the play, blocked the kick, and they won. That's a team that is being coached well and a team that guys find a way to make a play and they find ways to win. We haven't been that team. So to me, that was kind of encouraging in a lot of ways that, hey, as Olin just described, like you saw something on film, you went after it, and you were the team that actually made the play to secure the win. It's like I say as well, and everyone talks about, well, the narrative is this. Well, if you don't like the narrative, change the narrative. You change the narrative by changing the narrative. You know what? Go out there and succeed. It's the same way. How do you learn how to win? By winning. So, I mean, like, I don't know how to make it any more simple than that. Maybe that's just a dumbass answer, but like you look at that game and they found a way to win because they were in tune to the details and something that showed them that they could exploit on the film, and then they put it into action and then they execute.
Oh, gee, let
me finish that because I forget one part of that. There was that was the drive. It's the punt, right? They punt it back, the down on the one, punt it back, the bad snap, right? You lose all those yards, and Cairo walks out and hits a 52-yard field goal. Yeah. So special teams in this game now, really big for those points. You won by 1 point. Every point matters. Like Tom is saying, how do you learn how to win? It's that, man. It's seeing a little thing on film. It's all talking to each other and just look, no matter what, we're going to make the plays we need to make to win this football game. And the credit does go to them. That is what they did in Las Vegas. They found a way after giving up 3,000 yards rushing. They did everything they had to do to win the game.
They found a way to win a football game. I liked in the post-game locker room when they were giving out the game balls, and Kevin Byard stood up and said, what did Coach tell us? What does everyone in the league say about the Chicago Bears? Just stay close. They'll find a way to screw it up. He said, we're changing the culture, trying to find a way to win a football game.
How it starts, man. That is awesome. That's a great point. It really is because, we used to say, when we were going through our run that, just let the Lions beat themselves, right? The Lions with Lions. We'd always say that. Let the Lions lion. They will. The Bears, that's what people have been saying about the Bears. But the Bears didn't this time, right? They scored the touchdown. Tom, they hit the 52-yard field goal. They kicked the punt. They blocked the field goal. Like, it was pretty cool to watch them do that. And like you're talking about, Cap, these are the kind of games, if you can stack them, these are the kind of games that does change cultures.
It does. Again, that was our special teams play of the game, brought to you by Special Olympics Illinois. We had some of their athletes right here in the studio yesterday. It was just a magnificent day. When voices tell us you can't or you won't, we simply say, I did. Special Olympics Illinois. So I did. Learn more at SOILL.org. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. We'll come back. I want to get the guys' thoughts on when they played. You go into a bye week. How do you take time off? Caleb said today, yeah, I'm in season. I'm not taking time off. I'm taking one day. That's it. I got work to do. We'll get to that after this right here on Studio 41 Football Recap Live.
Our family had been talking about redoing the kitchen for a long time. Studio 41 had all the pieces I wanted.
With Studio 41, we found their prices competitive. They helped us stay on a budget.
They spent a lot of time with me in the studio, and I got to touch and feel things.
Our big fear was if you go online, who's standing behind the product? Studio 41 had the best selection, and they took her ideas and brought it to life.
It was everything I dreamed it could be.
Visit studio41.com to find a showroom near you.
Episode of recap recipes.
That's right, and you know what? This is going to be a little more fulfilling, sustaining.
Oh.
We're making walking tacos. We need individual bags of Doritos, like the 10-pack right there.
Right here. We can invite 8 whole friends to hang out with us.
That's it.
Got it.
Let's go get ground beef. Okay, I go grass-fed ground beef.
Love it.
A little healthier for you. I go the 93.7, a little leaner for you.
Great.
There you
this
go.
is a health food show.
You got to pick yourself up some taco seasoning.
Perfect.
Got to get yourself some black beans, some sour cream, and some cheese.
Perfect.
Okay? So put all that in your recipe app because I know you don't have a recipe Rolodex.
He's really, really progressing with the times now.
Okay, we need guacamole. I like the mild and add my own like ghost pepper sauce to it, but they also have a very good spicy one.
I like your creativity.
There's some, like go with the restaurant style salsa right there on the left.
Ah,
It's
okay.
awesome.
Restaurant.
The only
J-Cap.
place I'll buy my guacamole is Jewel.
Perfect. We're gonna do the mild,
And then we're gonna
we'll
add
our
my own
twist.
hot sauce because I like it with a real kick to it, but I like my kick.
It gets you running instead of walking.
That's exactly right.
It's a running taco.
It's a running taco. You ready to check out?
I'm ready.
Let's go make
We've
some
got everything.
running tacos.
Love it. All right, thanks, Cap. See ya.
All right, see ya. Have fun. Enjoy. Walking tacos are absolutely a must-have at any tailgate or football party. All right, time for our vertical chimney care catch of the game. 27-yard touchdown to Rome Odunze. Outstanding catch. The throw was, as Tommy said to me yesterday, that throw was some kind of special. That is our vertical catch of the game. Vertical in business since 1985 when we had an issue with our chimney and fireplace. They came out, they took care of all the issues, and now we've got a gas fireplace courtesy of verticalchimney.com. All right, the throw by Caleb on that touchdown to Rome, you loved that, didn't you, Tommy?
I did. You know, like I'm weird, though. I like seeing plays. Like there will be more difficult throws, but when I see a quarterback drop back, get his feet underneath him, and let the ball go before the receiver comes out of his turns to the quarterback or comes out of his route, that just gives me football tingles. It just does. I mean, like that's the kind of stuff that you're and you go, wow, that's something we can build on. That's outstanding. I need to see more of that. But that's, again, you look at it on film and people would say, well, he's kind of wide open. Yeah, but just watch how the play develops and watch if he holds it an extra tick, then he may bring the safety in on the play. But when the ball's in the air, when Rome comes out of his break, it's how it's designed. And when a play like that is designed and then it's executed, it gets me excited.
What'd you think, OG? Rome's the only player to score in every game this year in the NFL.
Yeah, I thought it was like Tom is saying, and it's an NFL throw, right? And that's why it gives you like goosebumps because you're like, man, we know that's what works in the NFL. The ball's out before the receiver breaks. The cornerback and the linebacker don't have time to break on the ball. And we know, I mean, like Tom is saying, we see what that cornerback was doing and what Devin White was doing that play. I'll never know. And that's none of my business, right? I don't do analyst work for their team. And if I did, Chip Kelly would be getting it today. But, like the great thing about Rome, Cap and Tom, that's interesting is that, against the Lions, it's 3rd and 9 is a 28-yard touchdown. Right against Dallas, it's 3rd and 8. It's a 35-yard touchdown. And against the Raiders, it's 3rd and 12. And it's a 27-yard touchdown. I like to see them make that play when it's not so third and behind the sticks. But when they need a play, Rome Odunze is the guy that Caleb's going to. And all of those plays, obviously the Cowboys receiver fell down, or the Cowboys cornerback Diggs fell down. But they found him. The other one is coming across on the Lions, and the Lions drop him in zone coverage. And again, they make a play. But what that tells me is this, that the coach and the players are making the plays, and the coach is calling the right play at the right time and confusing their defense, because the defense has looked confused. But eventually, when you see that enough, it's not an accident anymore. Right? It's not an accident anymore. He's out coaching them, giving them motion and looks and combination. And Tom knows, put him in bunch, put him in stack, move a guy in motion. You're doing things on purpose all of a sudden because you're kind of guessing, this guy, like I talked about, is a math major, and he's guessing his odds of getting the defense that he's going to get. Right? He's guessing correctly and running the right route combination. So give him credit.
I will say this as well.
You love the math major.
I do, because I love watching a math major act like he's mean. It's hilarious to me. You know what I mean? I buy the Ditka stories, right? Mike Ditka was a tough guy. Yeah. This guy all of a sudden is, like he's correcting your geometry homework and then mad dogging the reporters on the field. I love it.
It's great. I love Rome. I thought at the start of the season he would eventually develop into their one. And be a number one type receiver in this league. He's got great size. He's got great speed. He catches the ball with his hands most of the time. He's a great kid. He works hard. He's got so many attributes. But before I put him in that, receiver one category with guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, you can't have the occasional drops, and you've got to be more physical and more involved in the running game downfield. That's what I would say. That's a high bar. I could never be a one in the National Football League. This kid's got that ability. And I'm not suggesting that it's not because of effort, because he busts his ass. But before you join that elite club, Olin was a part of that elite club in terms of centers and offensive linemen. Before Rome joins that club, I can't have that drop on the goal line against the Cowboys. I can't have that drop across the middle in the second half against the Detroit Lions. You're my one. And when we need you to be out on the perimeter, clearing space for wide receiver screens or backs that are getting to the second level, or do I need you to crack on a linebacker? I need you to put on the tape of Amon-Ra St. Brown and see what that guy does. He gets after it. So I think we're going to get there. I think he's fabulous. I think he's a fantastic player. And maybe I'm just being an ass, but I think his ceiling's so high. I think he's got even more room to grow.
Olin, you mentioned the sideline reporter, Adide, I don't remember whatever her last name was. Ben Johnson's come out now and said, well, maybe I didn't handle that right. I've done that job. I had zero problem with how Ben handled it. Did you guys?
No, it was a non-story. It really was. I mean, obviously with social media nowadays, it'll blow up. And I think I heard her say on the score that the question came out wrong. So she expected that reaction from him. And it was good that they both just said, we both handled it wrong and what it was supposed to be, right? So I didn't have a problem with it. The coach in the middle of a game, I was liable to say anything to anybody at some point in the middle of a game. So I don't think it was a story, but I do like to tease Ben about it. So maybe I need to stop. So maybe I can stop the story.
I don't think it was a big deal. I think there was a misunderstanding. He thought she was making an editorial or a statement, and what she was trying to do was ask a question, but she didn't ask it kind of in question form. And it's loud, and he's pissed off because their first half was so bad. At the end of the day, I don't think it's a big deal.
All right, I wanted to ask you guys this. What is bye week like when you guys played? Olin, what was a bye week like for you? Did you take a few days away from the facility because of the physical pounding you took each and every week? Or no, I treated it as a regular week and I went to the office?
Mine was I was interesting because I got to go through kind of both stages of football where at first you didn't really have a bye week, right, Tom? I mean, Tom probably was worse than mine, but we were in pads for 3 or 4 days out of that week, for most of the first 9 years of my career, and then we'd get Saturday and Sunday off, but then later we did start to get a lot of week off, and I just wasn't a guy who took much time away in the season. I like to train and watch film and work and stuff. But to be fair to everybody, you have to do like everyone's different. Some guys do need time away. Some guys do need to get a little break, and whatever you need, you got to go get done. These Chicago Bears, you'd imagine most of them are working. But nowadays, I mean, I think they're only practicing once this week. They're not going to waste a lot of practice in the CBA. Yeah, they're not practicing. So, when these guys say like, oh, I'm going to work hard this week, I'm always wondering like, what is your definition of working hard? But I was more of a film guy and like to stay around and work out and do all the things that I felt like playing football was a vacation.
Like Olin said it, like the only thing that was different about a bye week than a regular week is we just didn't play on Sunday. Like
Right.
we have added practices Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah. We may have, helmets on Fridays, but I mean,
coach didn't give you 4 or 5 days off, huh?
No, it did not give us any time off. But that was fine. I mean, like I was more concerned with just trying to heal with whatever injuries you may be dealing with. I was involved with, I think for 1 year, there was a 2-bye season where we had 2 byes in the season. I think that lasted 1 year and then they got rid of it. But no, it was normal. Like, yeah, I mean, we didn't get on an airplane and go anywhere. I mean, we were at practice all week.
Do guys do that? Like take off and go to Mexico for a few days?
I don't know.
I don't know. Didn't we have a guy last year who became the head coach? He went home to see his family. The day he got told he was the head coach, didn't Thomas Brown?
He did.
We laughed. Thomas, you're the head coach. Bye week. You're the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Wow, I got to go home first to check on this. Tom, if they made me head coach, I'd never leave the office, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
You wave goodbye to your family when the season starts. Yeah. Say hello to them when the season's over.
2005, Lovey went to one a day. And that was my 9th year. It was the first time I ever did one a day in camp. I didn't even know what to do with myself with all that time. Like, I think me and Ruben, we're trying not to have a beer every night. You know what I mean? Because usually if you have a one a day the next day, you go to have a few drinks with your teammates, right? Because one a day is like, and then Lovey was staggering practice. But I mean, we practiced at 8 in the morning, then at 7 at night. So all that free time was like, you didn't even know what to do with yourself half the time.
Yeah, I remember. Crazy. I mean, just the change. I mean, like, I know we sound like the old guy, yelling at the clouds, but like when I remember my first training camp in '89, like the morning practice was from like 8:30 to 11:30. It was like 3 hours. And it was
and all meetings at 1.
Yeah. and if you played special teams, you better be on the field at 12:45. And then the after practice, you'd go from 3 to 5:15, and it would be heavy pass, emphasis. But like you were on the field seriously for 7 hours during the day,
and then meetings from 7 to 11 right after that at night. And then they would tell you, Cap, we're going to give you guys a break. Mind you now, they didn't change practice. You have to wear your bottom half. And I was like, if we're going full speed, do you guys mind if I just put my pads on? Because I feel like we're doing 9-on-7 anyway. I might as well put my pads on here. But because I had an interesting, like for me, Tommy, it was interesting because I played in both eras almost.
Yeah.
And when they switched over, now they've gone to a lot less now during the year padded practices, but where guys were like, take care of your body. And then we went to like nutrition and eating well. And it wasn't just KFC and donuts in the building and, drinking beer and throwing darts in the video room. And all of a sudden it was like, everyone knew their body fat from the bod pod. And things have definitely changed a lot.
No,
Yeah.
you probably hit the sweet spot. Like, because when I was there, I can honestly say, I mean, it was too much. It was, but you never felt 70% by the time you kicked off for the opening game of the season. But now I don't think they do enough. So probably there was a time where you just described, Olin, where it was the sweet spot where you were still busting your ass, but you weren't overdoing it so that when the real season began, you were gassed, which was, kind of detrimental to the cause. We would step onto the field, and Holmgren was the coach of the Packers. I think at some point, I forget who it was when I first got there, but the Packers had kind of changed their style and gone the way that the 49ers did. So you'd get out there and they'd be fresh, and you'd be dead as a dog in week 1 or 2. So I'm glad it's changed. I think they've gone a little bit too far.
I remember being in a golf tournament up at Glen Flora. Olin was in it. It's raining, and we're sitting upstairs in the bar, and I'm trying to remember who the Bears player was who was complaining how difficult training camp is. And Olin, Jimbo Covert was there. They're like, dude, are you out of your mind?
Hey, I don't talk in front of Jimbo, man. No, Jimbo. I ain't gonna tell you how hard things
all day.
Those guys. I mean, listen, like Tom is saying though, it was stupid. Like you would train so hard to get your body to a point, and then by the time you got to the season, like all your lifts were down 30 or 40 pounds from hitting your teammates. Right? You had like all these little injuries already, and all that training you did was almost gone because you had tendonitis or arthritis in different joints, and it was 9-on-7 against Ted Washington for 4 weeks straight, twice a day. Like it didn't even make sense.
I'm seriously, Hilge's the center. It's there. It's Bortz. It's Jimbo, and it's Van Horn. And on the other side, it's Dent. It's Hampton. It's McMichael. It's Fridge.
What a war, man!
It was an every day. It was a
war.
battle to see who could win the practice. Like those guys were true. I hate to say it. They were gladiators, but they did that every effing day for 3 hours in the morning. And like, listen, Jimbo never wanted, McMichael to get the best of him and vice versa. So like those guys were going full speed for 3 hours a day, like 5-6 days a week. I mean,
what I tell hey Tom, what I tell my two sons all the time, right? You guys are playing a gentleman's game. I don't even recognize the game you guys play nowadays. It's a gentleman's sport out there.
By the way, hell of a win for those Illini.
I tell you, Coach B deserves a lot of credit, man, because after that Indiana game, I didn't know when I went down to, Champaign to watch that game and credit him and Josh Whitman, the AD, the atmosphere they have going on down there, right? The big noon kickoff show was there. Stadium was packed. Fans were excited. It was homecoming. Found a way to beat a good USC team after you guys saw what Indiana did to Illinois. And I'm always going to support them. My boys are on the team and support Coach. He's done a great job coaching that team, but shows you what kind of coach Coach B is and his staff to get that team turned around right away and not beat some cupcake, beat the USC Trojans.
Yeah, that was super cool. So I asked this question on the radio today. I think I know Tommy's answer. I don't know Olin's answer, but I want both of you to answer it for our audience. So if you could make a deal, I'm not talking about giving up a first or second round pick, but if you could make a deal to add a quality running back, Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, somebody that is a clear upgrade over what you have, would you do it?
Olin, Cap doesn't remember. He asked us this question last week.
I don't think I did last week. I asked it on the radio.
Tom, you can't blame him. He has to do all his sponsors. He forgets. There's like
I think
sorry, it was just too easy, man.
My memory sucks, but I think our answer was similar, is that I'm not giving up any. You want to give up a 7th round pick, fine, but I'm not giving up any.
How about if the Bengals keep losing and Trey Hendrickson becomes available?
Now you're talking
a 1-year deal.
Well, that's fine, but now you're talking about a position that really, 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 really matters and that they have no answer at. So you'd be speaking my language there, but I don't know.
What about the Browns just traded for Cam Robinson because they didn't have a left tackle. But let's just keep screaming about the left tackle and never talk about trading for one. Okay, so I mean, it's just Cap, if you can get someone for a good deal to run that ball, I think Monangai looked pretty good against the Raiders. The Bears do have a question mark at running back. I don't know with the team I have right now. I don't know if I give up a lot of assets right now. I just don't. I'm going to save my pitch, man. I know I got to be realistic in that building at some point. We're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, right? We're not a Super Bowl team. We don't have a pass rush. We don't have a closer. We can't stop the run. And right now we can't run the ball, and we're playing musical chairs at tackle. So I don't want to, if I'm the general manager and someone comes and says, Olin, we got to trade for a running back, I'll say, I'll get you one. It'll probably be next year.
Olin, in terms of Tommy as well, in terms of Darnell Wright, let's assume that he comes back and he can play. Do you move him to left tackle and leave Ozzie at right? Do you leave Darnell Wright at his natural spot of right tackle? How do you shuffle this offensive line?
I don't think you do that if he's injured, right? I don't think you move him there if he had that injury. That left arm is as bad as you're saying it is. But I'd like to see him at left tackle, especially because you took Ozzie Trapillo in the second round, and we found out he can only play right tackle. Now, I hate moving somebody who can be elite at the position that he's at. I hate that idea, but I think Darnell right now, my only worry, Tom, would be if he could have done it, they probably would have done it, right? Like, why didn't you do it in camp? We might have, we might be leading the league, guys, in right tackles on our roster.
Wow.
Listen, I'm in deep water here. That's not my area of expertise. I would just say, if I recall correctly, didn't they move Darnell at Tennessee from left to right because left really didn't fit him well? So now you can ask him to go to left at the NFL level when it didn't fit him well at the collegiate level. I don't know. I just want to know from Olin with
Tom, did you say Darnell Wright or Ozzie Trapillo? Because I swear it's the same story.
Darnell. Ozzie's
the same story, right?
Same story. Ozzie at Boston College, they put him over to the left and it didn't go well, so they moved him back to the right. But I believe, Cap, am I right, that Darnell at Tennessee, they tried to play him at left tackle and
then moved him back to the right.
To the right. I just want to know, Olin, from your vision and from your perspective, why are they struggling so much with running the football? How much of it is the line? How much of it is a play call? How much of it is the back? How much of it can be fixed or can be improved? Because I think it's the one thing, that and their defensive line, that I can't get my head around.
Yeah, it's almost like on defense when you're watching it, right? It's pretty simple. It's a lot of mental mistakes. Guys aren't getting to the linebacker they're supposed to get to. Looks like there's some confusion on, okay, are we working this all? Like they ran a gap, a power play. The guy came across Tooney's face when D lineman stunts. And I think he thought Braxton was coming down, but Braxton climbed to the linebacker.
Where are we at?
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that going on, right? There's a lot of that kind of mental mistakes and errors. And I think really, I heard Ben Johnson talk about, we've watched it with the players and the players that have worked there. I think the coaches are working through it also, right? I think Bieniemy, I think Declan Doyle, Rochar, right? They have the Denver running game with Sean Payton. Ben Johnson is a guy from, the Detroit Lions. And then Bieniemy is a guy from the Chiefs and the Commanders. And there's just so many new ideas in that room. And I'll be honest with you, it looks like that when they're running the ball. It looks like there's 4 or 5 different things being said in 4 or 5 different rooms, and they just haven't come together yet. And I think because of that, they can improve, right? They can get better at really just functioning as a unit and keep it coming and keep it going downhill, which they have. You can see they get comfortable with the defense in the second half, and they start running the ball a little better.
So we've got the bye week this Sunday, but then when you go back to work, you're going to play the Washington Commanders, who beat you on a Hail Mary. You're going to Washington on Monday Night Football. Washington's had their share of injuries this year. Their great quarterback, Jaden Daniels, has been banged up. They've had some injuries on their offensive line. What's your guys' thought walking into that building after what happened last year? That's still a pretty talented Washington team, Tommy.
I would say buckle up, because I haven't watched a ton of the Redskins. I haven't seen a ton of the Commanders this year. They're good at the line of scrimmage. They're stout. Like, they can run it. Their system, will give you some trouble. And I think on the other side of the ball, it's hard to move them sometimes as well. So I would say buckle up and get ready for a scrum at the line of scrimmage. And that's where it would start for me with that Commanders team.
OG?
Yeah. Until further notice, with these Chicago Bears, we'll be talking about that every week, right? At the line of scrimmage, can they run the ball? Can they stop the run? And can they protect their quarterback? And can they sack the quarterback? Because we just haven't seen it, right? And besides the 8 takeaways that equal 2 wins, when you go against a better team, and by the way, the Commanders this offseason, Cap, they traded for Laramie Tunsil, who is the top 3 left tackle in the NFL, and he is their left tackle now. So they fixed that position through trade, right? They went out and signed a few other guys too. And like Tom is saying, they're very good in the trenches and they're good up front. And that is kind of where, when you look at this Bears team, you question them, right? Jonah Jackson and Dahlman have to play a little better ball, right? Get a little more physical up there. The movement is really like the only sack in the game, as much as we talk about the tackles, was the 3-man stunt against our 3 inside guys. Right, that was the only sack in the game that came for the Chicago Bears, and by that I mean 2 D linemen go this way, and the other guy loops, and this guy came and pinched, and Dahlman didn't turn on him, and Jonah Jackson didn't flatten him. So those 3 guys, man, going into this bye week, watch some film, get a little better, right? To get these guys to play, because we got to, and on the other side of the ball too. Talk to you guys about, I would put Javon Dexter 3 technique, move Billings to nose, move Jonah Ford up. We saw a little bit of that, even with Grady Jarrett coming back. I'd keep it the same, although they didn't do great this past week at stopping the run, even with those guys on the field.
Well, Washington is at the Los Angeles Chargers this weekend. So that's a tough task. And that's a banged up Chargers team. Rashawn Slater's out for the year with the patellar injury. And I believe Joe Alt was carted off the other day. So, yeah, a lot of injuries. We saw Tyreek Hill with a horrific injury. Malik Neighbors with a blown knee. I mean, boy, oh boy.
Man.
Some brutal stuff. Olin, make sure you find a nice prop bet for me again, because that was a great way to win, man.
But sometimes guys, the healthy team is the team that, obviously has the advantage. Look at the Ravens as well. The Ravens are dealing with all kinds of injuries too. So that schedule, when it comes out, when the season starts, and you're like, oh man, that's a monster of it. Sometimes it changes. Now you're going to go to Baltimore. You're going to face a Ravens team, even though it's weeks away, maybe without they're all pro defensive.
They might be without Lamar Jackson. They might be without Roquan Smith. Matabuke's done for the year. Like, that's a totally different football team all of a sudden.
And then
all I got to say is Henry going to be there.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry has
that's a problem right now.
Is
Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum going to be on the field, the center, the all-pro center, the all-pro left tackle? Because until we start stopping this run, guys, I'm worried about the Chicago Bears continue winning, especially on the road against good football teams.
Well, guys, have a great week. Next week, we will be at Hooters in Downers Grove, Tuesday, October 7th at 8 p.m. We will be there. Come out and see us, get some pictures, eat some great food. OriginalHooters.com. Call the restaurant. Make sure you get yourself a table. We always draw a great crowd. For Olin,
I'm on the injury report. Who we got coming off the bench? I'm on the injury report.
Alex Brown is coming in.
Oh, AB, man. Yep, give him a microphone. He never stops. Just let him talk. Let him talk, man. He got all kind of things to talk about. AB's the best, man.
Olin,
good teammate, good guy, good on the radio.
There you go. Olin, Tommy, have a wonderful rest of your evening. I will see you next week. Bear down. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Studio 41 Football Recap Live is brought to you by Studio 41 Home Design Showroom. 13 locations, studio41.com. Vertical, in business since 1985. Chicago's chimney experts for chimney cleanings, masonry work, gas logs. Verticalchimney.com. Your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers, the official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. Hooters. At Hooters, originality isn't just one thing, It's everything. World-famous wings and more, served up by the iconic Hooters girl. Hooters, always original. Dr. Pepper, an American original, just like our Chicago Bears. Grab an ice-cold, refreshing Dr. Pepper today at a McDonald's near you. Special Olympics Illinois. Special Olympics Illinois, so I did. Learn more at SOILL.org. Apt. For the best appliances for football season, shop at Apt. Pleasing people since 1936. Find them at apt.com. Four Seasons, heating, plumbing, air conditioning, and electric. For all the right reasons, Four Seasons.
Our family had been talking about redoing the kitchen for a long time. Studio 41 had all the pieces I wanted.
With Studio 41, we found their prices competitive. They helped us stay on a budget.
They spent a lot of time with me in the studio, and I got to touch and feel things.
Our big fear was if you go online, who's standing behind the product? Studio 41 had the best selection, and they took her ideas and brought it to life.
It was everything I dreamed it could be.
Visit studio41.com to find a showroom near you.
Okay, we're just here for dishwashers.
Just a dishwasher.